Today we're going to be solving multi-step inequalities. So this just means that we're going to have more than one step. Yesterday with what we talked about, you could solve all of these getting the variable by itself with just one step. Today we need to do more than one. That could be 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on the situation. With each one of these questions, we're going to solve it, and then we're going to graph the solution. Solving the inequality just means getting the variable by itself. If we have 7 plus 6a is greater than 19, to get a by itself, we're going to subtract 7 on both sides, keeping in mind that inequality sign right now just acts as though it is a equal sign. So that is going to give us 6a is greater than 12. A is not by itself yet. To get that to happen, we're going to divide both sides by 6. And a is now greater than 2. So a is by itself, so we're able to graph it. So we're going to put two numbers on that number line, 0 and 2, and they should go in that order because 0 is less than that 2. At 2, we're going to have an open dot because it is not equal to there. And since a is greater than 2, we're going to shade to the right where the numbers are greater than 2. You can always plug in numbers to see if they actually work. So 3, if we plug 3 in, 3 is greater than 2. We know that we have shaded on the correct side of this of the open dot there. Okay, let's look at solving 14 is less than or equal to negative 3m minus 4. To get m by itself, we're going to add 4 to both sides. That gives us 18 is less than or equal to negative 3m. Getting m by itself, we're going to divide by negative 3 on both sides. Here we get negative 6. This side we get m. Now I didn't put the inequality symbol in here yet because we have to remember a rule that we learned in middle school about dividing or multiplying by a negative number. When we do that, that is going to make the inequality symbol change to flip the other direction. Okay? Now, if it helps to write this, remember we can, when we're graphing this, it may help to switch this around and be m is less than or equal to negative 6. That inequality symbol is still facing open towards the negative 6. That's allowed to happen. So now we have two numbers that we need. Negative 6 is going to come first since that's smaller than 0. At negative 6, since we have m is less than or equal to negative 6, we're going to put that closed dot in there. And since it's less than, we're going to shade on over to the left where the numbers are smaller. So let's write ourselves a little note here though. When multiplying or dividing by a negative number, you must flip the sign. So you got to remember to do that. When you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number, it is going to flip the inequality symbol. Okay, don't forget that. All right, let's take a look at one that has variables on both sides of the equal sign. So here we have, of the inequality symbol, we have 3b plus 12 is greater than 27 minus 2b. Again, we're going to solve, and then we're going to work on graphing these. Okay, so in these questions, we're getting variables to one side, numbers to the other. It doesn't matter which one you're doing first, but I'm going to move this negative 2b to the left by adding it to get my b's together. So that's going to give us 5b plus 12 is greater than 27. To keep going, now we've got a two-step thing here. That would give us 5b is greater than 15. And then dividing by 5, b is greater than 3. And these steps are exactly like what we did when we had an equal sign here. You're still doing those inverse operations. So same steps, just watching out for the inequality symbol. The only time that things would change is if you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number. All right, so we need two numbers on our number line, 0 and 3. 0 is going to come first, then 3. At 3, we need an open circle. And since b is greater than, we're going to shade on over to that right. Okay, let's add in a few extra steps here of things. We're going to solve 15 is less than or equal to 5 minus 2 times the quantity 4m plus 7. So these types of questions you got to be really careful with because some of you are trying to combine like terms with those. Those are not like terms. This -2 has this piece, the parentheses with it, that you have to take care of first. Okay, so we're going to have 15 is less than or equal to 5, and then we're going to distribute. -2 times 4m is -8m, and -2 times 7 is a -14. So we distributed. The next step that we can take is to combine like terms to simplify. So that's going to give us -8m minus 9. We're going to add 9 to both sides since that's the inverse operation. So that's going to give us 24 is less than or equal to -8m. Dividing by -8 on both sides. So 24 divided by -8 is -3. Since we divided by a negative, we need to flip the sign. And then that's going to be m. So we have -3 is greater than or equal to m. If it helps you to flip this one around to actually graph it, we can write it as m, flip the -3. Since the inequality, since the inequality is facing towards the -3, it still needs to be open towards the -3 when you flip it. We're going to draw our number line. It doesn't matter how big your number line is. -3 is going to come before 0. At -3, we're going to have a closed dot because of the equal to piece. And since m is less than or equal to -3, we're going to draw that arrow on to the right. Alright, let's look at one more question here. We're going to solve -6 times the quantity k minus 4 is greater than or equal to 7 times the quantity 2k minus 3. So when we go through and solve this, our first step is going to be to distribute, since there are numbers outside of the parentheses. So that gives us -6k plus 24 is greater than or equal to 7 times 2k is 14k, and 7 times -3 is a -21. So as we go through here, our steps, I'm going to choose to add the 6k first to get a positive coefficient with your k's. You don't have to do that, but I think it makes the most sense to do that. 14k plus 6k gives us 20k. We still have the -21. To move along to get k by itself, we're going to add 21 to both sides. So that's going to give us 45 is greater than or equal to 20k. We'll divide both sides by 20. Now, when you do this, you can either simplify this fraction and notice that both of them are going to divide by 5. So that would give us 9/4. If you don't want to leave it as a fraction, you can also just divide this 45 divided by 20 or 9 divided by 4, and that would give us 2.25 as a decimal. To help us out to graph this, let's flip them. Since the inequality is open towards the number 2.25, we're going to make sure that it still stays open towards that. And then we'll graph over here. We need two numbers, 0 and 2.25. At 2.25, we need what kind of circle? So it's going to be closed because of the equal to piece. And here we have k is less than or equal to 2.25. So we're going to draw that arrow on to the right. Keep in mind it is the exact same steps that we used to solve our equations before. We just have an inequality symbol that's there. And the only time you're going to move that inequality symbol or change it is if you're going to multiply or divide by a negative number. That's it.